In 1 minute merge onto scenic route 365. Stay straight until you reach your destination.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of Ruffles and Flourishes. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating airmen passing in review today represent a portion of the 40,000 recruits who will complete basic military training this year. The 737th Training Group provides all recruits the essential military training to become motivated members of the enlisted corps of the greatest Air Force in the world. The military training instructors are responsible for the indoctrination, development, and discipline of the airmen. They have dedicated endless hours to ensure all training objectives are met. Today's graduates have proven through academic studies, military training, physical training, and the development of teamwork that they are ready to take their place in the United States Air Force. The flights you will view today are a representation of the enlisted force. Each flight represents an enlisted member of the Air Force who has embodied our core values and contributed to its heritage. As our graduates turn left onto the bomb run to pass and review, they will march over the Enlisted Heroes Walk. The airmen recognized on the pavers have been awarded our nation's highest honors, representing heroic and unselfish actions as members of the United States Air Force in armed conflict, including present-day operations in Afghanistan. They include 7 Medals of Honor, 28 Air Force Crosses, and 190 Silver Stars awarded for bravery during encounters with hostile enemy combatants. These enlisted heroes serve to inspire all airmen to execute their duties courageously and with honor in their service to this great nation. Armed with a knowledge of our past, the airmen will exit the Heroes Walk by marching over a blue line, signifying their accession into the greatest air power in the world. By the 737th Training Group's Drum and Bugle Corps from the 321st Training Squadron, performing today under the direction of Master Sergeant Sherry Wynn, hometown, Chattanooga, Tennessee. These trainings are also basic military training that have been hand-selected to perform ceremonies of this type. We would like for you to notice our national, state, and territorial flags. As these flags pass in review, please stand and render the appropriate courtesies for our national flag. Once the flags have been passed in review, please be courteous of others and be seated in order to allow all our guests the opportunity to view the flights as they pass in review.
It's got stripes on. Yeah.
In review, our Commander of Airmen is Technical Sergeant Matthew Kuchera, Master Military Training Instructor, 319th Training Squadron, hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. TA Squadron Commander is Technical Sergeant Jamaica Stevens, Military Training Instructor Trainer, 323rd Training Squadron, hometown, Karn City, Texas. From the 324th Training Squadron, representing the 1st Female Combat Arms Major Command Program Manager, Duprat Waldo Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Jason Hernandez, hometown, Wapakoneta, Ohio. From the 324th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 2, Harlow Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Levi Huff, hometown, Holland, Indiana. From the 324th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 15, McKinley Flight, and by Technical Sergeant Melissa Spoon, hometown, Moravia, New York. From the 324th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 11, Campanelli Flight, led by Master Sergeant Darren Beasley, hometown, Anderson, South Carolina. From the 321st Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 9, Binnaker Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Marcus Coley, hometown, Dublin, Georgia. From the 321st Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 12, Bankin Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Robert Cosme, hometown, Fallbrook, California. From the 321st Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 14, Murray Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Jack Lozano, hometown, Landon, New Jersey. The squadron selected as the color guard is from the 324th Training Squadron, led by Master Sergeant Jonathan Turman, hometown, Ewing, New Jersey. The flights selected to carry our national, state, and territorial flags are from the 322nd Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 1, Aerie Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Don Roque, hometown, Apple Valley, California, and Technical Sergeant Jeremy McMasters, hometown, Danville, Illinois. The B Squadron Commander is Technical Sergeant Joshua Scott, Military Training Instructor, 331st Training Squadron, hometown, Lebanon, Oregon. From the 322nd Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 18, Wright Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Luke Gilmore, hometown, Klamath Falls, Oregon. From the 322nd Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 4, Barnes Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Trina Gritty, hometown, Eva, Hawaii. From the 320th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 6, McCoy Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Cheryl Holworth, hometown, Kennewick, Washington. From the 320th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 7, Andrews Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Timothy Jones, hometown, Texarkana, Arkansas. From the 320th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 8, Parish Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Adam Antonioli, hometown Plymouth, Connecticut. From the 320th Training Squadron, representing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Number 10, Finkston Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Jeremiah Simmons, hometown Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's crazy.
From the 321st Training Squadron, representing the first woman in the Air Force, Blake Flight, led by Technical Sergeant Samuel Swinson, hometown Plano, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the United States Air Force song. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Over the last 7.5 weeks, the airmen before you have transformed from civilians into motivated, disciplined warrior airmen with the foundation to serve in the world's greatest Air Force. Once these airmen leave basic military training, they will enter Airmen's Week, where they will develop their critical thinking skills and further personalize the Air Force core values. They will continue on to technical training to learn the skills needed to perform in one of over 130 Air Force specialties. They will then move on to serve at one of over 84 Air Force bases around the world or work directly with our sister services. As these airmen move on to technical training, they will continue to focus on adapting to military requirements, achieving occupational proficiency, and learning how to be highly productive members of the Air Force. These men and women will prepare for increased responsibilities and must ensure they are trained, qualified, and ready to deploy and operate in an expeditionary environment while maintaining home station readiness. One of the hundreds of thousands of American citizens that enter the workforce each year, less than 1% have joined the ranks of the U.S. military, and even a smaller percentage in the United States Air Force. You should be proud of their accomplishments thus far. The airmen before you have reached a milestone in their Air Force journey and will require your continued support to assist them in their future endeavors. These airmen are the future of our Air Force and will pave the way for future generations of airmen as we continue to fly, fight, and win. We would like to take a moment to congratulate all of our squadron honor graduates as well as their families. Basic military training honor graduates distinguish themselves by being ranked in the top 10% of all airmen graduating in their class. The exceptional personal dedication, integrity, service before self, and sustained excellence these airmen displayed throughout basic military training earned them this outstanding distinction. As the airmen march forward for the oath of enlistment, we would like to thank the families and friends who are here in support of the airmen graduating today. Your words of encouragement helped motivate these airmen through 7.5 weeks of basic military training. On behalf of the United States Air Force and Air Force Basic Military Training, we extend our thanks to the many families and friends of America's airmen for the support of your airmen and the greatest air power the world has ever known. General Newby will now come forward and address our graduated airmen.
Doesn't this make me proud to be an American? You moms and dads, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, grandparents, thank you. Thank you for allowing us in the Air Force to have your sons and daughters. A few weeks ago, they were different people than they are today. And you're going to find that out when you have a chance to visit with them here in a few minutes. But we want to thank you for allowing them to join a new family, the family of the United States Air Force. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I have one question for you. Are you ready to join the world's greatest Air Force? I think they're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. General Newby will now administer the oath of enlistment.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. And the orders of the officers appointed above me. According to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, Airmen. Welcome to the world's greatest Air Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as our newest airmen recite the Airman's Creed and remain in place for the departure of our official party. I am an American airman. Viewed from the bleachers from your left to your right. The first 4 heritage flights are from the 324th Training Squadron. Duprat Waldo, Harlow, McKinley, and Campanelli flight. Next are Vinegar, Bankin, and Murray flight from the 321st Training Squadron. They are followed by Wright and Barnes from the 322nd Training Squadron. The next 4 flights are from the 320th Training Squadron. McCoy, Andrews, Parrish, and Finkston flight. The last flight is from the 321st Training Squadron, Blake flight. Airmen in the state flag mast, every flight from...
Yeah, you look nice. Man.